you, Khaled, for this is a very nice view. I think what we heard so far is the scientific part of it and the start and what we thought about before we get in. My job is to go over the initiation, challenges, and future plan about our program. Okay, so I put this, although Khaled showed it, this is the first picture mean a lot to me. I think this is the first time that we met with most of the people in the group here. Half of them I just recognized at that date, September 14, 2013. I'm becoming a very close friend now to me in interventional society. And since then, we start talk about the STEMI program. Was one of the major success in my story in the Ministry of Health in King Fahd Medical City to establish such program. At that time, we put a lot of barriers. We talk about it, and we found to try to solve it. Khaled, remember that we present this slide many times, and actually he's the one who initiated. We put a barrier of patient, physician, and paramedics, geographic and infrastructure, and healthcare system. Also, we talk about lack of universal health care system, lack of universal health insurance, several different healthcare providers. Like, example, in Riyadh, we have National Guard and security force. We have military hospital, King Faisal, and university hospital. So everyone has his own patient, his own interest, and the different of practice. Admin bureaucracy to go with us in the same line. Lack of competent primary health care around us. Also lack of reimbursement for physician, and the role of Saudi Red Crescent was underfunded, underutilized, understaffed. So all of this was barriers. So if we sit and talk about it, we'll not finish. And that's what we exactly did. And our plan at that time is, let's just get started. And once we get started, we'll definitely face a problem and we'll solve it. So the three key of success with our program, first one is just start with whatever you have. Second, make things very simple, not complicated. A third, take obstacle as growing pain and face it and treat it. So between the first picture and this picture, which is another key day in our program, we did a lot of meetings, a lot of effort to try to work with Red Crescent. I think we did more than 13 or 14 meetings with Red Crescent. We established a zone for Riyadh for them. We helped them in training in university hospital, and finally they upgrade their ambulances. Then we realized that we are working only on 5% of the patient coming with a STEMI. Most of the patient come to the hospital and they need to be referred from hospital to our hospital. Since that day, we met Dr. Saleh Al-Tamimi with the help of Dr. Zuhair Asiri and other group. I think we shift our interest and we're becoming part of this amazing, successful program called Emergency Department Support Program, and which is currently run by my friend Dr. Abdurrahman Al-Gahtani, and he still show and give us the same support. So since that day, we put Red Crescent on hold, and we start to be part of this successful program, and it's become a real successful one. So the initiation phase of the program, what we did is we went back to our hospital, and we thought, are we ready to receive and see patients? Is our hospital is ready from all aspects? When the patient arrived to our emergency, are we ready in the manner of time, door-to-balloon time, staff-wise, is our emergency ready? Can we open a file for any patient or have a limitation? So in King Fahd Medical City, we have a STEMI program, which was running 24/7, but we don't have a code STEMI program. Our door-to-balloon time at that time was almost 110 minutes, as reported by Dr. Samih Lawand data. So we initiate what's called code STEMI program, and has a protocol on it. It counts when the patient present with a chest pain and ST elevation from emergency. We create 15 pager that can be activated in the same time, which decrease the people arriving to emergency and in the cath lab. And just by doing this, we showed statistically that we decrease our door-to-balloon time from 110 minutes to 67 minutes, which is great, and we hit a record many times to be less than 40 minutes. So I was with the group happy about our STEMI program, and we felt we were one step further to go with our amazing program. Our cath lab, I didn't do a lot for them because they were well-trained people, and they are ready and well-skilled to handle emergency cases. And to be sure that we are doing great, we create what's called code STEMI log sheet, which is exactly measure everything since the patient arrived to our hospital till the patient had his artery open. So we put the patient arrived to emergency, time of the ECG, time of the code STEMI activated, all the people arrived to emergency, arrived to our cath lab, they get the time written. Then when the patient arrived in the ER, when the patient arrived to our cath lab, and once the balloon inflated. So that's done in every case, and we monitor on a daily basis and every weekly basis. Eligibility and opening the file. If we start talking about eligibility with our case managers, it sounds like a very difficult to open a file for one patient that doesn't have a file number in our hospital, let alone the non-Saudi patient. But to be honest, once we start the program, everybody was with us and becoming very easy, very simple to open a file for them. What they did, they create what's called demo files, almost 100 files in the hospital, and they just give the patient, and later on after procedure, they get the file. Emergency room, we are lucky to be part of this emergency program. So all the emergency physician was part of this program, and they help us for facilitating the patient and transfer from the ambulance to our cath lab directly. We start meeting with Dr. Adnan Abdul Karim, and since then we realized there's a lot of STEMI. STEMI was added to a HALA system. We start to materialize things in Mudiratul Insurance Sahiyya system. Start a pilots in 2 hospitals, King Fahd Medical City and King Khalid University Hospital. We create a STEMI flow sheet, and the plan was, as Dr. Khalid Al-Habib mentioned, that we have a weekly on-call alternative between 2 of us, and there is a hotline that we receive a call immediately from the primary physician. This program is for all nationality, no exceptional, and we start to think more about how to improve things like logistic involved in it. So this is the date was July 26, 2015, 24/7 for both cath lab, and we're talking about Riyadh region, not Riyadh city, which almost 6,700,000 people around us. So program started. It's at the initiation phases, need a lot of dedication for the program. You receive a call from staff, you receive a complaint from case manager, ER physician talk to you, and if you didn't answer them in 5 seconds, they start to complain, they want an answer. Referring hospital, they want guidance. So at that time, we working 24/7, me in the King Fahd Medical City side, and Dr. Khalid Al-Habib and Dr. Mustafa Shmeri in the university, and Dr. Khalid Al-Habib was observing both of us to maintain it happen. It was demanding, it was a lot of work. We stay most of the time at night just to answer call and facilitate the transfer. Communication, I think it was good, and we discovered something that make communication very easy, and we'll talk about it in a second. And transportation and beds availability was another problem. Staff excited at the beginning, they were with us, then get exhausted after, which is explainable. So secret for our success was to make it extremely simple, as Khalid mentioned. So just a communication between the non-cath hospital to the cath hospital. We don't need anything in the middle. How we do it? I think they were using to fax papers to the hospital. We don't need this in 2015 or 16. We discovered something way similar. It's WhatsApp. We can use it, and I think we are using it efficiently now. We communicate nicely with it. So we create 2 WhatsApp groups. The first one was for all interventional group in the kingdom. That's just to communicate with them to increase awareness about what we are doing. And the second one was just related to our Saudi STEMI program. And you can see this is a snapshot from my WhatsApp, just to see that its ECG can be posted with the data of the patient, the time of arrival, then the patient will be accepted. And even the acceptance physician, they will post the picture when the patient arrived to hospital, when the patient arrived to the cath lab and then transportation. And even more, you can post picture of the clot that you get out and the result of your angioplasty. So this was very helpful. First is make the communication very easy, and we can communicate with each other around second. Plus the referring hospital, they see what we did exactly for their patient. They have very good feedback, and I think it's one of the best idea that we use in such program. Bed crisis, we try our best initially to do at least 2 to 3 times bed round a day in the hospital to clear beds in CCU and others. But we start with the week good, then after 3 days we face a problem with the bed crisis. One of the things that we did, Dr. Khalid Al-Habib met with the Red Crescent guys, and after that in December 6th we have an agreement between the Saudi STEMI program and Red Crescent to help us in this program. And the deal is they will take the patient back. So the patient will come to our cath lab, get cathed, managed, observed for 6 hours, then after that he will be taken back to his local hospital. Plus they will facilitate the patient transfer from the field from their houses to hospital. It's not yet implemented, but that's something we're going to do in the near future. To make things happen, you need people to work with you, and we have 2 hard worker program coordinators. We have Hani Al-Taradi and Mundar Abdurrahman. They work around the clock with communicating with the on-call physician and the periphery, and they both post at least 3 times a day the bed situation, our WhatsApp group, so everybody is aware about our situation. Staff incentives, something we talk about initially, but I think after we met with Dr. Saleh Al-Tamimi, he kindly approved that we give incentive for interventional cardiologists, and later on with the generosity of the program we extended to include the staff working in a cath lab. So everyone dealing with any primary PCI will get incentive. And I think that was approved finally with Dr. Tarif Al-A'ma, Wakil Wazarat Al-Sahha. So flow of patient and records. The plan was to do alternative weekly on-call, KQH and King Fahd Medical City. Was done perfectly. Then we even went further and changed it to what's called change to bed availability manner. So we are on call King Fahd Medical City. If we didn't have a bed, we'll call the on-call in King Khalid University Hospital. If they have a bed, we'll transfer the patient there. So becoming the 2 hospitals working as a 1 unit. Whatever bed available, the patient will be served. And again, the third option, if we didn't have a bed, we'll bring the patient to our cath lab. He'll get a PCI and go back to his own hospital. We hit records many times. You can imagine patient coming from King Saud Medical Complex, SHA-MC, to King Fahd Medical City. From their door, coming to emergency in King Saud Medical City, seeing by emergency physician, then they activate the code STEMI. They talk to us, patient get accepted based on the ECG sent to us. Then they send the patient to our emergency. We open a file for him, come to our cath lab, and we open the artery. That's all done within 100 minutes. And we reach this number many times. And that's a real successful, and it was a dream for us to happen as a real. First week, again in King Fahd Medical City, our average STEMI was 8 to maximum 10 a month. First week, we received more than 23 patients